Hello friends, in this presentation you will be learning the topic of company and investors enter into a contract when company allots shares to the investors. According to this contract, the investor is bound to pay the share amount as and when the company demands it. If the investor makes a default in payment of this share amount, company is bound to confiscate the shares for breach of contract. Forfeiture is the confiscation of shares and compulsory termination of the contract. Now let us learn procedure for forfeiture of shares. Company makes a call on its shares. Let us assume that a shareholder makes a default in payment of the call money. Then company sends him call reminders. How many call reminders are to be sent shall depend upon the provisions of Articles of Association of the company. If there is no response from the shareholder to the call reminders that the company has sent, reminding the shareholder that he has to pay the call money on or before the extended date, then company sends a warning notice threatening the shareholder that in case if he doesn't pay the money on or before such and such date, his shares would be confiscated. If there is no response from the shareholder even for this warning notice. Now let us learn the effects of forfeiture of shares. If a person does not pay the call money even after getting a warning notice from the company, then as a last resort, company forfeits his shares. There are two important effects of forfeiture of shares. The defaulter loses his membership and his name is removed from the register of members because he is no longer the shareholder and a member of the company. Secondly, the amount paid by him up till now is confiscated and not refunded back to him. Let us understand the journal entries for forfeiture of shares. As you are already aware, shares can be issued either at par or at a premium or at a discount. There are journal entries for forfeiture of shares which were earlier issued at par, forfeiture of shares which were earlier issued at premium, and forfeiture of. Let us learn the journal entry for forfeiture of shares which were earlier issued at par. By learning this journal entry, you should understand some basic things. In the first place, there are three items of amounts that you are supposed to pay attention to: called up amount, paid up amount, and unpaid amount. Remember that whatever amount that the shareholder has paid gets forfeited. Whatever amount that he has not paid is cancelled because there is no possibility that he will pay that amount anymore. And the journal entry that is passed is equity share capital account debit. This entry is passed with number of shares multiplied by amount called up. Share forfeiture account is credited with the amount paid up because that's a profit of the company, so it is credited to share forfeiture account. This amount will not be refunded to him. And to calls in arrears are cancelled. Unpaid amount is adjusted in this way. And now let us understand the journal entry for forfeiture of shares which were earlier issued at par with a simple example. This is the example. Suppose the face value of share is ₹100, out of which 80 are called up. A person holding 200 shares has paid 60 rupees and has made a default in payment of ₹20, and that's why his shares were forfeited. Give journal entry for forfeiture. Let us first recapitulate the theory part. There are three values that are required to be paid attention to: called up amount, paid up amount, and unpaid amount. We know the journal entry also: equity share capital account debit to share forfeiture and to calls in arrears. We know the amounts with which these accounts are debited or credited. The called up amount goes here, paid up amount is confiscated, and unpaid amount is cancelled. Now let us apply this for this example. Here in this problem, face value is rupees 100, 80 rupees is the called up amount, 60 rupees is the paid up amount, and 20 rupees is the unpaid amount on the shares. Number of shares is 200. Equity share capital account will be debited with the called up amount, that is 200 shares multiplied by 80. Amount that the shareholder has paid will be confiscated. So to share forfeiture account, 200 shares multiplied by 60 rupees. Now let us go a step ahead. Let us understand the journal entry for forfeiture when the shares were earlier issued at premium. There are two possibilities that we have to consider. One, the shareholder might have paid the share premium amount, or second, he might have failed to pay the share premium amount. Now let us focus our attention on the first situation, when the shareholder has paid the premium amount. The rule is that the premium once collected cannot be cancelled. According to this rule, we will pass the forfeiture entry in the following way. Share capital account debit to share forfeiture account to calls in arrears account. The second situation is when the premium is not paid by the shareholder. Here the general rule is that premium, if not collected from the shareholder, needs to be cancelled. So in this situation, the forfeiture entry would be share capital account debit, securities premium account debit to share forfeiture account to calls in arrears account. Now what is your observation in respect of these two entries? You are right. This is the difference. In the second situation, the shareholder had made a default in payment of premium amount, and therefore the security premium amount is debited, and thus the premium amount is cancelled. But in the first situation, the premium amount is not cancelled because this premium is paid, and premium once paid cannot be cancelled is the rule. Therefore, security premium amount is not debited. Let us understand the journal entry for forfeiture of shares which were earlier issued at premium with a simple example. Suppose a company issues a share of ₹10 at a premium of ₹2 per share, payable as under ₹3 on application, 4 on allotment including premium, ₹5 on first and final call. Mr. A, holding 100 shares, did not pay the final call money, and therefore his shares were forfeited. Give journal entry for forfeiture. Let us analyze this problem. Face value is ₹10, issue price is ₹12. These 12 rupees are demanded as ₹3 on application, ₹4 on allotment, and ₹4 includes premium. Therefore allotment money is ₹2 and premium amount is ₹2. Final call is of ₹5 per share. Important observation is that the allotment money includes share premium amount, and that Mr. A has not paid this allotment money. That means he has not paid the premium amount also. In this problem, the shareholder has not paid the allotment and first and final call money on his 100 shares. So the full journal entry is like this. Equity share capital account debit, 100 shares multiplied by called up amount, that is ₹10. Security premium account debit, 100 shares multiplied by premium amount, that is ₹2. To share forfeiture account, number of shares forfeited, that is 100 shares multiplied by paid up amount, that is ₹3. And to calls in arrears account, 100 shares multiplied by unpaid amount, that is 4 plus 5, 9 rupees. Now let us consider a different situation. Had Mr. A paid allotment money and had his shares been forfeited for non-payment of first call money of rupees 5 per share, following journal entry would have been passed. Share capital account debit to share forfeiture to calls in arrears. Share capital account will be debited with the called up amount, that is rupees 10. So share capital account debit rupees 10 per share. To share forfeiture on 100 shares rupees 5 per share, that is 3 on application that he has paid, and 2 rupees per share on allotment that he has paid. And to calls in arrears on 100 shares rupees 5 per share, that is unpaid amount. You remember that the final call has not been paid in the second situation. Read this important point. Security premium account has not been debited in this entry because Mr. A has paid the premium amount along with the allotment money. Premium once paid cannot be cancelled. Debiting premium account would mean cancellation of premium amount, which is against the provisions of Section 78 of the Companies Act of 1956. When shares issued at discount are forfeited, you have to remember some important points. Discount given on share is a loss. At the time of issue of shares, this loss is debited to discount on issue of shares account. When shares issued at discount are forfeited, the proportionate amount of discount given on shares must be cancelled, because since the shares are forfeited, discount is no more a loss. The journal entry for forfeiture of shares issued at discount is equity share capital account debit with the amount called up, to share forfeiture account with the amount paid up, to calls in arrears with the amount unpaid, and to discount on issue of shares, that is the amount of discount. Let us take an example. If a company forfeits 100 shares of 100 each, which were earlier issued at 10% discount, and money was payable as rupee 20 on application, rupee 40 on allotment including rupee 10 discount, and rupees 40 on first and final call, then give the journal entry if default is made in payment of the first and final call money. Let us analyze this question. Application and allotment money was paid, but first and final call money was not paid, and therefore the shares were forfeited. Now let us note all the journal entries. Bank account debit 2000 to equity share application 2000, equity share application account debit 2000 to equity share capital 2000, equity share allotment account debit 3000, discount on issue of shares account debit 1000 to equity share capital account 4000. Here discount is debited. Now bank account debit to equity share allotment, this is for receipt of allotment money rupee 3000. Now this debit that was given to discount account needs to be cancelled while passing the entry for forfeiture of shares. Now journal entry for making the first call money due is equity share first call account debit 4000 to equity share capital 4000. Now since this shareholder has failed to pay the first call money, next entry will be calls in arrears account debit 4000 to equity share first call 4000, and now the entry for forfeiture will be equity share capital account debit 10,000, that is face value of shares 100 multiplied by 100, to equity share forfeiture amount paid up 100 multiplied by 20 on application and 30 he paid on allotment, so 5,000. To he calls in arrears the amount that he didn't pay 40 rupees per share, rupees 4,000, and to discount on issue of shares account 10 rupee discount which was earlier debited now needs to be cancelled, and therefore it is credited rupee 1,000. In the next presentation, you will learn reissue of forfeited shares.